At the end of my last video, presenting a recital program featuring late works by Mozart and Liszt, and what I feel to be a certain special kinship between them, I suggested that this is a music which may not be the most accessible. It occurs to me in connection to this that this may be because it is music that is more about being than about becoming. I would now like to explore what this means. It seems to me that we all like to hear a story, that we all like to be taken along for a ride on a journey through different worlds. This way of taking us from one state of mind to another through an experience that we share with the storyteller is what I call the presentation of becoming. If by taking a simple visual analogy, we think of various points of a story as being mountains and valleys, it is the climb from the valley to the mountain that becomes this effective part of the dramatic discourse. But I think the crucial point here is that this is not the only way to bring forth emotions through a story. After all, remembering is quite different from retelling. With late Liszt, of course, remembering is a main mode of expression. Just look at how many pieces of his late works he called forgotten. I feel many of the same aspects in the historical Hungarian portraits. For example, there's this one piece which has two parts with distinctive characters. Just looking at these two sound worlds, one could possibly make a parallel to what I think is probably the most epic valley and mountain that Liszt ever wrote in the Stabat Mater of Christus. This is a piece that lasts a good part of half an hour, and it is an epic journey that takes us from this first idea to the second idea. Now let me show you what happens in the historical Hungarian portrait. So here, what is essentially a culmination of the first idea is shown through an abstract transformation to actually be the second idea. And we have, so to say, been shown not how far a distance it is between the mountain and the valley by going through a journey, but rather that they are actually two sides of the same point in another dimension. The transition back to the first idea is also very striking. The transformation is as follows. The accompaniment of the soft middle section lands onto the same notes as the beginning of the first idea in the same alternation. Liszt shows us, again through an abstract transformation, that these are really just two sides of the same object. I feel that it is human nature to try to imagine a context for every new piece of information or every new object that one encounters. I believe that this is also the case in music. Every time when one hears something, it is coming along with a cloud of associations and implications. Franz Liszt's late music often plays with this cloud rather than with the object itself. Consider as an example the following progression in the second forgotten waltz. We have here been given a context for this harmonic progression. This last chord is in this context tinged with sadness, but in the context of what comes after, it is actually this mysterious glowing chord. So there's a process here of one meaning being replaced by another. This is not a process that is pointed out at one particular moment in the music, but rather it happens in this cloud of associations, which is the listener's baggage. This brings me to the observation that such effects are very delicate and are easily ruined by performance. In performance, the inflections that one does can be of such a large magnitude that they completely swamp these very delicate transformations that are intrinsic to this kind of music. Some of the events in late Liszt are so subtly marked that they would be entirely subsumed under the sea of interpretative inflections. It is tempting, therefore, to enhance them by making mountains out of molehills. I'm not sure about this. I'm thinking, for example, of this passage from the Carillon of the Christmas tree. The highest point of the arch of this phrase is a twofold statement of the following. But here it is again something in the context which changes. The first time it is something new which brings us further than the 8-bar phrase. 4 bars? Which brings us further than the symmetrical phrase that came before. But the second time, in view of what comes afterwards, this figure has a new meaning. It is more affirmative, it is a closure which makes it possible for the music to move on into a different world. This shift of perspective is marked by a single changed note. In the accompaniment, let me now play again this passage, and we shall see what a difference a single note can make. These very small changes find a beautiful expression in the penultimate historical Hungarian portrait. We have here 4 blocks where only one note changes between each of the blocks. It is this way of expression where one is sitting still and the changes happen as shifts of perspective in the world of thoughts. not linearly, not continuously. A thought just comes into being, is there, and leaves.